Hello, everyone. This is episode number 12 with CEO of Sellmethispen.ai, Michael Ocean, the brilliant leader that explores with me how AI is revolutionizing the world of go-to-market and sales with game-changing insights and strategies. This podcast is sponsored by the GTM AI Academy, your go-to resource for learning how to leverage AI in go-to-market teams and individual roles. You can find this episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, and more. For more, go to gtmaiacademy.com. Let's dive in. My friends, one and all, I am so glad to be back with the one and only Michael Ocean, the CEO of Sellmethispen.ai. And this is actually our second go-round because I liked him so much, we had to do it again. Michael, thank you so much for joining. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, John. It's always
Good.
a pleasure.
Yeah, man. If you're listening on audio, you can't see us, but he's got this nice beard he's got going on, and he's over there in the East Coast and is that a heat lamp behind you? Are you cold over there?
It is cold. Like it's snowing right now here in Toronto. But
Oh, is it?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, awesome. Well, before we kind of jump into all things AI and what you're doing in go-to-market teams, I'd love to hear, a brief background on you, give me an intro on how the heck you came to be the CEO of Sellmethispen.
Yeah. So I was a musician. No idea about sales. Didn't want to sell my soul, playing music, having fun. But what happened was, as funny as it sounds, I got these allergic reactions to my cat. So shows are canceled, no more career, music. So I had to do something. So naturally, I was good at sales because I was booking this, venues, and I just got a job. I just got a job in sales, and I realized it's harder than I thought. Like it's not just so you talk to people and you can just close deals and make tons of money. So I had to learn the hard way because, again, I didn't get much coaching and training. So no formal coaching and training. So I had to, spend my own money getting courses, screw up a lot of calls. But again, it's been 10 years. Started a bunch of companies in the past, and Sellmethispen happened because I was part of a founding sales team at Hopin. And you know the story, we were a bunch of people, and then the team grew to, massive 200 plus, sellers in the span of a year and a half. And I noticed we are wasting a lot of time on onboarding junior reps. So I cannot actually go out there and, close my deals.
Right.
And I realized, okay, there might be opportunities with AI to change this, help sellers get better and help the entire go-to-market actually be more efficient. So that's how we started Sellmethispen.
Well, I got to know. So tell me why you call it Sellmethispen. Of all the names you picked, why Sellmethispen.ai? I got to know. Give me a story.
It's one of those names. It gets a lot of love and a lot of hate. Sometimes
right.
Some of my even leader friends, they get on the comments like, why did you pick this name, dude? I was like, okay. So I got my first tech job selling Microsoft products. And my last interview, they surprised me with this question. Hey, sell me this pen. I was like, all right, this is weird. Do you even need a pen? So let's have a conversation. So it just stuck in my head for years. I never used it during my interviews, like hiring reps. But I remember me and my co-founder, we were drunk, no joke. And we were just having a blast, just grab a bunch of beer. It's like, what's the name again? Like at first it was not Sell Me the Pen. We were playing around with different names. I was like, honestly, I think Sell Me the Pen, because I think everybody's familiar with this, whether they like it or hate it. And it was one of the weird questions that stuck in my head. Even after a decade, I still remember it. So, the domain,
there it is.
You just picked it. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, I have to tell you, so I've seen a ton of AI. I mean, this. I've seen a ton of AI demos for different teams, both for individual use and for team usage. And yours is one that stuck out because you're thinking about, and we talked about this, right? So whenever I do sales enablement, like I technically do revenue enablement for entire revenue teams. But whenever I do sales enablement, I'm always like, okay, what does the sales rep need before a call? What do they need during the call? What do they need after the call? So I know you obviously have part of your platform, you have the AI role play and some of these specific custom stuff. I even posted a video of you doing one with me, which is kind of fun. And so obviously that's stuff to either do prepping or post call to kind of practice. But during the call, you also have content bringing up and helping the person in context of what's happening inside the call. There's all these cool functionality. So it's almost like a real true co-pilot tool, which I've seen other tools that do like pieces of it, but yours is one of the few that does before, during, and after type of stuff. So I'd love to know more about like your methodology and what your thinking was behind the tool and why you're doing what you do versus other people.
Absolutely. So, like, honestly, I'm replicating my own behavior. So what
Yeah.
happened was, like, especially with Hopin, I used to go on calls with reps, like junior reps. Hey, please
Hmm.
don't say anything. It's an enterprise account. Just do your job. And right now, it's just really possible to give a solution that covers, most of the needs, not only for reps, but also the entire go-to-market. So the main reason why we built it all in one, I was frustrated by the fact that, look, you join a company, you have to, get adopted to 10 new, tools, and then in the span of a month, they come and introduce another tool. So that brings a lot of friction, not only, to reps' lives. You see RevOps always like struggle with data hygiene. That's a big thing, right? Data is always messy. So
Yeah.
having this all-in-one solution not only helps, reps get better because you build this continuous, coaching loop that
Hmm.
through like tons of reinforcement. Okay, you practice, you're good, you beat the AI, but real life is a different scenario. You go on calls, you get punched.
Yeah.
And when that fight and flight mode happens, you need that support, but it's humanly impossible to, put a Coach K on a call to, help the rep handle those objections,
I
right?
wish, man. I'd love that. I love those calls, but I get it. It's hard
We
to
should
scale one
replicate
person.
you, man.
Yeah.
Think about it. We should chat about yeah,
It's
again,
awesome.
the entire idea is to give an end-to-end coaching to reps. So
Mm.
it's not, disjointed anymore. So you will learn not only, let's say, after the calls when deals are lost, but in real life, like in real time, real calls, you can ask the right questions. You can handle objections easier. So the main idea is to give more support to reps and also the whole go-to-market team.
Yeah, that's one thing I loved is that's where like I love the practice. Like practice is such a crucial part of it, but it's when they actually apply it. Like when somebody asks a hard question and the deer freeze eyes, like, what am I supposed to say here?
I
And
knew
like
it.
there's no one there to help. So I love that your tool like brings it up in context or reminds them of the methodology or reminds them of what should be happening in that sales stage or whatever the case might be, so they can go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to ask this question. So they're not stuck. So I love that you're thinking that direction of like what does a salesperson actually need? And I think that's part of the power behind AI is it's going instead of people going to the tools, going to the people. You know what I mean? What are they doing? Where are they at? What are they experiencing versus I have to adjust my workflow to the tool. You know what I mean? Which I
Mhm.
love your thoughts behind it. And by the way, for anyone listening, I do have a demo of Summon This Pen on the free demo tools AI library. It's under the Copilot section. It's awesome. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go see it. And then your tool is one of the few also that it doesn't require team signups. You can do it as like an individual person. You just go and sign up and try it, right? So, and again, if you're a salesperson or a CRO or somebody listening, go try it and just look at it's awesome. Like it's one thing I love about your platform is others restrict your ability to actually try it, but you're like, go check it out. I have an AI question for you. The model that your thing's trained out or on, is it based on your own data? Do you use some of your own data plus OpenAI APIs, or tell me about the back end tech stuff?
Look, we started building on our thing and
Yeah.
then realized, okay, OpenAI is more powerful. Why, we should fight with this, right? There are tons of models. Like right now, bigger guys are fighting around like how to do things better. So
Yeah.
we keep saying that the core model is OpenAI, but we keep testing. Like Grok is out right now. We tested out. It was really horrible. But again, things are evolving. So we don't even like plan to necessarily build our own models. We focus on building refinements for our prompts and also using different technology that is available. Like there are tons of even open source technology that you can use and build through your own, system that could work pretty good. Like not as close as
Yeah.
OpenAI, but again, the
Right.
options are there, so we're using what's available right now.
Yeah, and I think if people don't understand the back end, it's I always compare AI to electricity. Like there's all this electricity everywhere, but once you point it at a particular problem, it becomes really powerful. And that's where I think a lot of AI tools are going is like they're picking their angle like yours and saying, okay, let's point all this power at this problem, and it becomes really cool what you can do with it. Let's talk a little bit more generally about AI in general, if you don't mind. I know you're a CEO of an AI tool, so you talk about this all the time. People have questions around like how do we actually, number one, know what tool to use? And then how do we know, oh gosh, how do we know? Oh, let me back up a second. How do we know where to start? How do we know what tool to use? what problem do we solve? Like when you're like talking people through this and you're trying to suggest things, like how do you walk them through how to go through the adoption, choosing of tools? Like how do you do that?
I always tie it to their, urgent problem. I'm like, okay, you can always get your hands dirty and test things out. To your point, like my platform is widely accessible. You can just go and start using it and test it out. But again,
Yeah.
everything there is a learning curve, right? So even with ChatGPT, the surface level
Yeah.
use to grammar
Yeah.
check, writing,
Yeah.
but people really, start using it professionally, learn how to, build prompts. Some people build their own application. I think before jumping the gun, it's good to educate yourself. Like what you are doing right now, you're educating people. What's even out there? Let's just learn about these tools before, start adopting them internally to our, systems, because then it's going to be horrifying if you don't know what you're doing. But what I would suggest is go back to your urgent needs. Like we have this client who was really sharp focused on dabbling in the team in a span of 2 months. So he knew that he needs to find a solution that helps do this much faster, better, cheaper. So AI is just
Mm.
a tool. You need to look at it as, okay, is this really a solution to my current urgent problem? And have a sharp, narrow focus to finding something that can actually help you do things better right now. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
you have to spend a lot of time learning about all the tools out there, because you said it. Every minute you get, 100 new AI
Hmm.
popping up everywhere. And
Yeah.
also consulting with people like yourself, like you, John. Like get into these platforms, good, you got GTM Academy, and there are a lot of good resources available that try to educate the market. I would say start with education, learn what's out there before, pulling the trigger and purchase anything.
Yeah, when being an anyone, I've enabled other tools that have nothing to do with AI, like just Slack or
Yeah,
Google
cool.
Suite or just the basic tools. Like it's all the same thing. I think where, in my experience, a lot of people get hung up is they don't even know what's possible with AI. So they don't know that the problem they're experiencing could even be solved by AI. You know what I mean? Like, for example, with your tool inside of a call, it pops up the questions based on the context, the persona, the sales stage, like all this stuff. Like, unless people understand that, they're like, man, they don't even know it's an option they can even look for. So I agree with you about education. Just curious though, like what do you follow besides me? But seriously, as a CEO of an AI tool, what do you follow? What are you reading? What are you consuming to kind of educate yourself on like what's coming next and what do you look at?
One of the things I do, and it might sound a little bit weird
Yeah.
because okay, there are a lot of stuff available. Yes, of course. I read things, I talk to people like yourself, I try to
Mhm.
educate myself, be on top of it. But I keep using tools. Like I use my own tool, and sometimes I come, guys, look, this is great with note taking, but honestly, I spend 5 more minutes. Like right now, we're spoiled, and 5 more minutes when I want to do a quick, summary on Slack. Can we just come up with something? And it's possible to really change things. And I learned from my own team because they're
Yeah.
smart. Like I
Yeah.
got a team of six, five of them, know much more about AI than I do. I'm just a sales guy. So I reach out to them and say, hey, can you tell me what's possible with my own tool? Like I see this like areas that we can improve. Can we like do this? What should we use? So I try to get closer to people that are more educated, in the space and learn from them. There's no other way around it, I guess.
Who do you follow like on LinkedIn or online? Like besides, like I'm sure you follow Sam Altman. Besides him, like who else do you follow in the AI world? Ooh, I want to keep touching on what they're doing because they're pushing the limits. Who do you follow?
I follow you. No joke. Like that's how we
Thank
started
you.
chatting.
I follow you back, so thank you. But besides me, keep going. Seriously.
Well, look, there's a guy that I joined as part of their advisory team named Wes McDonald.
Yeah.
And it's super active. He's not active in SaaS necessarily, but he's always on top of, doing research and, putting news out there about AI. He's one of the guys that I really like because he's very human and I'm not technical. So I don't want to embarrass myself. Like
Right.
I would listen to someone who talks human. And this is the guy that I really like because what he shares is really easy to understand for someone like me. I'm not technical. Yes, I'm a CEO of an AI company. So I would say, yeah, follow Vince McDonald. He's a great guy.
That's awesome. Tell me one thing you've gleaned from him recently.
So one of the things that he shared recently was about his focus industry. So he's in office equipment channel industry. And the fact that adoption in some of these more underserved industries are lower than obviously SaaS. And we know that. Like historically,
Yeah.
SaaS has always be the forefront of technology and innovation.
Yeah.
But what it taught me was it actually helped me switch our business strategy completely, because we were going after SaaS too, like everybody else. Like they know AI,
Mhm.
they want AI, and right now I'm tapping into more underserved markets. And we started getting some of our best clients from constructions, real estate. We did this launch on AppSumo that 550 plus
Mhm.
SM started using it, and surprisingly, when we checked the data, all there were marketing agencies, small businesses. And I'm like, okay, it seems like that laggard mentality is shifting, which is really interesting. And he was the guy who actually, talk about this, like, okay, yes, some of the industries that are not as sexy as SaaS might not moving as fast, but they're open to learning. I think we got spoiled, in SaaS because everybody's like
Yeah.
paying too much attention to us. So for me, again, as a business person, that was a takeaway. Like, look at other underserved markets because people are willing to listen.
That's awesome. So going back, and I know I asked you this before, but without naming any names of customers, one thing we like to focus on is not just learning tools, but actually creating business results. So if there's a story of a customer you can tell without naming any names that talks about what impact they've seen as a result of like just AI in your tool,
Yeah.
who do you have? Like you actually posted a story, like you sent a video of a team saying they love the tool. Like I'd love to hear more about what
It made
happened.
us cry, man. Like they
Yeah,
almost,
I want to hear about it.
and it was super like cool but weird because I barely cry. And on that call, I was like, oh, guys, please stop it.
People listening, Michael cries every time we talk, so don't let him get away with that. So it's okay. Keep going. No, but for real, tell me a story.
Yeah, I can share some names. So one of my favorite, actually, everybody's a favorite, but Ergion is the
Yeah.
name of a company that I'm extremely close to right now. So our relationship is more than just, vendor and, buyer, because we got our hands dirty together from day one. The head of sales, Jose, is an amazing guy. He's one of the best sales leaders I've ever met because he's so big into coaching and supporting the team.
Yeah.
So what happened was when I spoke with Jose, he said, look, I learned about your tool. I know what I want. I want to focus on note taking. So I want you to take the notes automatically. Data hygiene is a problem. We need to, communicate with our CS team better after sales is done. And I was like, okay, so you already, tested my competitors, why are we here really, truly? Like, what's that main business problem that we are trying to tackle? I said, dude,
Mhm.
I'm tackling now, tripling my team, and I have 2 months. Can you help? I was like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
let's really get super deep into understanding like what's going on, with your environment. And he was like, look, historically, we used to spend almost close to 6 figures and run this boot camps for, new hires, right? 2, 3 months,
Right.
tons of high performing reps and managers supposed to get involved. Right now, I don't
Right.
have capacity because we have numbers to hit, right?
Right.
Can we do? I was like, okay, tell me about your historic numbers in terms of graduation. It was like 60%. So what happened was after a month and a half of basically using our solution, they got 90% user adoption. So it means more people actually got into the job. And yesterday they shared some numbers around like these reps actually went on field. First 3 days, 19 out of 40 people actually closed their deals, and some of them
Mhm.
actually 2 or 3 deals. So not only they got this faster, let's say, ramp time or onboarding,
Mhm.
the reps got better knowledge base up here. They built this muscle memory through
Yeah.
practice. They were
Yeah.
familiar with different use cases. We built everything custom built for them based on their 100 whatever pages of playbook. So it was really sharp focus on mimicking those real call scenarios. And again,
Cool.
faster ramp, less time spent on again bringing managers and high performing reps. Also in terms of like price, uh, it's not even comparable
Yeah.
because they
Drastically reduced. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's one of the success stories that we are really proud of.
So with ramp, I'm curious, what was the ramp before and what was the ramp after? If you know numbers, I'm just curious.
If you look at full ramp, take them 2 months to 3 months to really get someone ready to go on field and start selling. We did 1 month of onboarding for them. So they did close to 2,000 role plays in a span of 1 month across around 50 reps.
It's amazing. Like that alone
trying to do that without AI would be nigh impossible. You just have a whole fleet of coaches to be able to handle that load and have the knowledge enough to give feedback like that. Like, it's just crazy. And then you talk about the business results, reducing it from 3 months, even 2 months down to half. That's like a huge gain because now they're full production at month 2 versus full production at month 4.
Just start selling. Like that's interesting.
Yeah.
And the closing, yeah.
It's crazy. Well, Michael, again, for everyone not knowing, it's at sellmethispen.ai. Again, anybody can sign up, either a one person or a team. Michael's been more than generous to do demos with me. And again, one's on the free AI tools demo library. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. It's awesome. But Michael, I'll share your LinkedIn and your website on the show notes. But anything else you want to leave us with before we let you go?
I appreciate you. No, thank you very much for having me. Again, you're doing an amazing job educating all of us. So thank you.
Hey, man, that's what I love this stuff. So it's great. I love having people like you on. It teaches me things. So I love it. So, anyways, Michael, you're the man. Thanks so much, everyone. Until next time, adios, amigo.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and